All right. So, just gonna kind of get into it. If anyone ends up watching the VOD on this, my name is Noah, or Nerd with No Land. So, I am a pretty heavy fan of the Borderlands franchise. I've been playing the games since Borderlands 1 back in 09. Put in probably upwards of 8 to 9,000 hours on the first game in its life cycle. I had a problem. I was in like middle school when that was out, so literally just played the ever living shit out of it. And yeah, so from there, Borderlands 2 came out. Played quite a bit of that, not near as much because getting into high school, stuff like that. But from there, played 3, pre-sequel, all the good stuff. 3 is by far my least played game. But the main point of that is, so we're about 70 days out from 4 coming out. I've already pre-ordered the Super Deluxe and the, the Little Dude game. The Little Dude, Delta? Or whatever. The Little Dude merch pack that everyone was kind of salty is not an actual collector's edition. Either way, we'll see. I'll probably do, I guess, like a little unboxing for all that stuff too, or whatever, whenever I get it. But either way, so this whole idea is sort of a attempt to get me started trying to do streaming as more of a hobby. Hopefully, perfect idea is for it to be a long-term hobby, just to give me something fun to do. I love gaming, and might as well try to do something I love with some cool guys having fun with me while I do it, or at least that's the goal. So consistency, always a hard thing. Go through a lot of stuff with it. So if anyone does end up joining me on this kind of journey, it'd be really cool. But aside from that, I guess if there's anything else, trying to check on Twitch itself to see if there's anything I need to set up. Alright, looks like I am good to go over here on my end. So, if anyone does pop in, I have chat pulled up off to the side. If I don't catch it right away, give me a second. Like I said, I am new to this, so a little bit of grace would be appreciated. I will do my best, though, okay? But, being that I do have, I'd like to think a fair amount of experience, especially with this game in particular. This is the remaster that Gearbox put out a few years back. So they did change quite a few things. So a couple of my G-Whizzes might be a bit outdated. I'll point some of those out here and there. Any questions, any cool little factoids, go ahead and ask. I don't know if these are going to be playthroughs to max level, just because of 70 days left. The goal is to play all of the games, all 4, at least getting 2 max. Oh, what's going on? I see someone else popped in. What I was saying is I was just kind of monologuing for the VOD. So I played all the Borderlands games. The game plan is I'm going to do kind of a rush through all 4 games leading up to the release of 4. So ideally, I don't know if I'm going to do a full to max level, but at least a full story playthrough, hopefully some of the fun content, up to that point. Yeah, so any questions? I've got a lot of experience in the game. All of them, I've played quite a bit. 3 is my least experienced game. So we'll kind of go from there. Aside from that, any questions along the way, please ask away, man. Let's do a new character. yeah. All right. So this is my first stream in 3 years. And aside from that, they were a few
you want to
random
hear
streams
a
for
story,
the boys
huh?
on D&D.
What about
I'll be
treasure
quiet for this.
hunters? Have I got a story for you? Pandora. This is our home, but make no mistake, this is not a planet of peace and love. They say it's a wasteland, that it's dangerous, that only a fool would search for something of value here. Then perhaps I am a fool. But do not be fooled by what Pandora appears to be. There was a legend. Many people tell it. The legend of the Vault. My father would always go on about the Vault, even with his dying breath. Advanced alien technology, infinite wealth, fame, power, women. So you can understand why some little kiddos who hear the stories grow up to become Vault Hunters. Well, I have a story you may not believe, but I tell you it is true. The legend of the Vault is real, and it is here on Pandora. And let's call her a guardian angel, appeared to guide the Vault Hunters to their prize. The tale begins right here on Pandora with the brave. Next up, Firestone
Skip that for us.
Time to gather up your stuff.
Music's kind of
Who's getting up?
copyrighted. I didn't know it'd do that. Since you're here, though, maybe you can help me. Would you personally like it better if I slow rolled the stories, notes, and kind of made this a good, first look for some people, or kind of just ran it through as someone that understands the story and kind of just showed the stuff and kind of explained it in my own way? As well as, do you have any preference on what you think I should play? Brick's probably my least played Vault Hunter on this game. Lilith and Mordecai are probably my most. I'm down to play whatever.
It's tough
I'll give you a bit to respond, but I'm cool with whatever.
To just feed up on whatever you please until you're ready. Sure, you can take from the bandits or find things in the wild, but equipment you buy from my stores are guaranteed. And if you die, you can't get your money back because you're dead. I kid. No need to be so serious here. And if you're looking for the vault...
All good, bud.
Well,
either way,
you're going to have your work cut out for you.
That being the case, so I'm probably going to go with Old Faithful here, and I'm going to pick up Lilith.
Don't be
Lilith's
alarmed.
Probably my favorite.
I need you to stay calm and don't let on that anyone is talking
really
to
prefer
you.
the old school way
Start
that they
making
did
your way
the
off the
angel
bus.
cutscenes. Angel
You
cutscenes
don't have
were
any
always
reason
just
to
so
trust me,
weird,
but I
and
need
I
you to
think I kind of like that
believe
better.
I'm here to guide you.
The
I'm
jarring
here to help
nature
you find
of
the vault. In a
the
moment,
real
you'll be greeted by a
person,
funny
essentially,
little
like
robot.
it just kind of
Do
broke it all up.
everything he says.
This definitely
You'll know
fits
what I
better
mean
in
when it
universe,
happens.
but
I'll contact you again
I don't know.
soon.
the jarring nature of it really helped.
Well, we're here. Don't worry about saying goodbye. I'm sure we'll be doing this all again soon enough. Get off my bus.
See you
Alrighty.
next time. Welcome to Firestone. I am CL4PTP. You may call me by my locally designated name, Claptrap. Before continuing, please accept this Echo communication device and heads-up display, provided free of charge by the Doll Corporation. Great! I I detect that your Echo device is fully functioning. This way, please.
All right. Alrighty. So, sorry about that little break. Yeah, they did such a good job, like, prettying up with this game, Game of the Year remaster, essentially. A lot of the little added features, too. You know, this is kind of a well-known little trick. I guess is a trick. Whatever.
All this stuff.
Alrighty. I forgot to put in the FOV slider. That's so nice. I am playing on Xbox, in case it doesn't say that. I'm not really sure. I am streaming direct from my Xbox. I also have my PC set up upstairs, so in the future, I'll probably stream off that as well, do some of that stuff. I'll probably try. Who am I kidding? I'm definitely gonna use some of these the Gearbox weapons. They're nuts, man, and they're fun. Yeah, they're just fun. So I'm probably gonna use these some. I'm gonna try to use mostly like normal found gear though, because if this runs anything like what I remember, I'm pretty sure these can kind of just carry you through like the first 10 levels or so. See. All right, that'll work. Macaroni. Yeah, we're definitely going back. Come on. And we're gonna go with the original Siren colors. Commandant Steel. Yeah.
Your DNA is registered. You have the best in horrific death and dismemberment insurance.
So, otherwise, yeah, kind of like I said before, guys. Gonna try to do some neat stuff, show some interesting tricks along the way. Specifically with this remaster, I'll point out some of the differences they did. There's a couple weird little spots throughout the game that they actually fixed, which I always thought were kind of very odd things that they even thought to mess with.
No, not again! Are they gone? Those guys really have it in for us claptraps. Using us as target practice is not part of our programming. And
Well,
open! Yes!
Hey, give me my 4 repeaters. Oh, that's kind of L. Yeah. In case anyone does come into this without ever really playing any of the Borderlands games, so Borderlands, the sort of claim to fame for a lot of people is the billions of guns or bazillions, you know, depending on the game. So it's, you know, a quote limitless style of like gun generation. This game is specifically a lot more funny, in my opinion, with the guns because you would find a lot more often literally the same guns. It almost felt like a joke because you could literally find the same guns right next to each other all the time. It almost felt like, in my opinion, like you were more likely to find a gun with identical parts next to each other. It happened a lot in vendors for me. I think I'm gonna turn down the game audio after I kill this last guy. Let's see about that. But yeah, so the main thing is the idea is you're gonna get random parts on every gun, like the stock, grip, accessory, barrel. For like legendaries, though, in this first game, the part that makes a gun a legendary might be the barrel, might be the stock, might be whatever. We'll get to that in a second. But the part that makes a gun the legendary will be kind of a few different things.
Attention, citizen of Firestone! There is
And
no
then,
cause for alarm.
in a few cases, there's certain weapons that drop from specific enemies that can actually drop, and you can get a world drop legendary on top of that unique drop from a specific enemy. So you could actually get what's called a hybrid. Like a Ajax Ogre is the most, or at least in my opinion, just off top of my head, I can't think of any of the other hybrids that are quite as effective. Nemesis Invader is one of the other really cool ones, at least. It's a handgun, but the Ajax Ogre specifically, it drops from Ajax, unique enemy later on in the game in one of the DLCs, and it's a hybrid with the legendary assault rifle part also. So you get that together, and that kind of it's not anything actually like special in terms of the game tells you. You just kind of have to know what you're looking for. But it's pretty dope. It's a really neat part that wasn't really available in the pre-sequel or 2. 3 kind of had something similar, but it wasn't quite the same. So, you know, to each his own. Another really neat thing that kind of stays true throughout the series is major characters or enemies get introduced through these title cards like that. So you're kind of going to get used to those. Most of them are going to have a cool little quip or something like that associated with it. One of the early bosses is he has pretty funny one to kind of break you into that one. This right here is one of the new parts that were added in with the remaster they did. This is called the Golden Chest. It's a mechanic that's in Borderlands 2, and pretty sure the pre-sequel, obviously, and 3. So it's in every other game so far. Tina's, all that. So essentially you get these golden keys from shift codes, and you shove it in, and you get purple gear and uniques out of it. We're probably going to avoid using this. I really just don't like using it that much. Unless I'm really just bored. I don't know, it's just not really fun. And typically the gear just doesn't really seem to be that great. This game is probably the one game that you could make the best use out of it, in my opinion. The other games, Borderlands 2 specifically, struggles significantly worse from its scaling. It uses exponential scaling, whereas this is more of a flat scaling game in terms of its stats.
Looks like you got under 9 toes skin.
Pre-sequel, they tone it down a bit in terms of the exponential scaling, but it's still a bit exponential. Just not as bad.
Oh, the poor little robot needs our help. Would you kindly give him a hand?
No. No, I don't want to. But you get the point kind of with that. Borderlands 3, I think they took, if I remember, just based off, I haven't played pre-sequel in actually years. I've went back to 2 quite a few times, but I have not played pre-sequel since my initial kind of wave. But, so 3 kind of took a stance in between pre-sequel and 2, which is fine, I think. I think it was still good for the game. They balanced the game pretty well around that. I think 3's issue for me was they worked too hard for balancing the actual items post-launch. They worked really hard to constantly balance everything. Which ended up being they just really heavily like catered the actual loot and how everything felt. It just felt kind of counterproductive to how the game typically felt. In this game, the pre-sequel, everything else, and don't even get started on 2 really, because Borderlands 2 is just a nightmare of breaking the game.
Just tell me if you need anything.
You know, it just felt very antithetical to like the core of Borderlands, almost, in my opinion. Still a fun game, like incredibly fun. Just kind of almost like they got lost in the sauce a little bit, but no harm, no foul kind of thing. I'm gonna try this revolver a little bit. Not really gonna have much ammo for it, mostly because of the you're not really supposed to have these kind of weapons right now. Just like you won't see a rocket launcher, for example, or anything like that for a minute. Just like in 2, you're not supposed to get like a grenade mod for a minute. You're actually not supposed to get a shield for a second. You don't actually have to kill all these skags, but it's a bit of XP, and you can get some extra money, all that, which is less important now. It used to be a bit nicer, because what you could do is, if you farmed enough money, you could be able to come over here all the way. And this is one of those first little changes they made. Just going to go ahead and show you now, since I'm already halfway here. Just started doing it while I was talking, but you were able to actually come all the way over here right away. And, is it Shep Sanders? Yep. Shep Sanders, the vendor over here, or the quest giver over here, right next to another, shield vendor, or med vendor. So you used to actually be able to, right here next to the skag skull, be able to just jump on the fence. This sheet metal here, actually, you notice how it's actually, like, off the fence? Well, it has physics in the actual original release. Kind of like how the skull does. But you can't get up to the skull, and because you don't have, do I have grenades yet? Yeah, I don't. Since you don't have any grenades yet, you can't grenade jump. If you were to find a grenade somehow, you could try and grenade jump. I don't remember if I've ever tried that, because it normally doesn't matter, because at that point you have that open already. Same thing if you were already having a car, you could just make the jump. Same thing, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it allows you to get to that vendor which has actual shields. So instead of buying the shield here for $60 and it's just kind of a baseline shield, you could actually go over there, because what you're going to do is you're going to come here, buy your shield for $60, resell it immediately, and then what you could do is buy a shield over there for a bit more, but it's an actual randomized vendor, so you're getting something hopefully of better quality. It doesn't always work out in your favor,
The medical equipment working,
randomized vendor.
more or less.
Oh, my bad. The shield's not 60. Its capacity was 50. Okay. I did forget. This is another aspect they did change. So they actually did.
Thanks for the help.
One thing that I didn't love a ton about this remaster. So some of the weapons actually changed. They revamped the weapons throughout the game quite a bit. So for example, if you play the original release and you farm up what's called a double anarchy SMG,
Spit it out.
if you farm up a double anarchy on the original release and then you actually transfer a save from that version over to this, which you can do if you have if you have the Xbox 360 as well as a newer Xbox with the remaster, you can have old gen guns, and they just so you could play with that same gun and directly bring it over and then immediately feel how different it feels. Does that make sense?
People don't yet trust you.
It's very
If you're
weird.
going to
I don't
ever
know
find the vault,
if that makes
you'll
a
need
ton
the
of sense
aid
to
of
other
the
people,
people.
but
Helping Dr. Zed with his
it just was a
nine-toes
very
problem
odd
is
feeling
a
for
good
me
move.
playing when I first got over and tried the remaster, because I was obviously super excited. It's probably my favorite game of all time, if you want to be honest. But like it just very kind of threw me off a little bit. seeing a distinct like change in how some of the guns, not like instant wins, but like for sure were like very heavy, like maybe like crutches. Like if you got a really good masher with good parts, good quality, you could like get carried for a good like couple levels easy. Now it's still much more difficult. So that's an echo for a mission a bit later that we'll grab.
More loot? What did I do?
A bladed repeater. Huh. Oh, bladed shotgun. That's nice. And so Borderlands 1 actually had PvP in case. So you could do the traditional duel that's in every other game, where if you and someone else in the game just melee each other, you could consensually duel, and it's just a big pseudo arena, like a circle that's set up, and just you could walk out of, and then everyone involved can shoot each other. But there was actually arenas in this where you could set up, and you could either do teamed or everyone for themselves, coliseums, and actually like PvP against each other. As you could probably tell, it never came back. It wasn't really popular, for one, and there was no real reason to. Didn't get XP. There was no loot. There was nothing to do with it. Yeah, it was just kind of a waste of time. It was fun. Back in the day, me and quite a few friends would mess with that often. But I think they did the right move with the direction they took it, especially with allowing it to be like you can wager different gear for it. I think that's a really neat method.
Just tell me if you need anything.
So, blinding Nine Toes. Nine Toes is that boss that I was talking about. This is going to be kind of our first major encounter, if you can call it that.
What you need to know.
We're off to meet a very beloved NPC character here, a Mr. TK Baha. He's referenced in every game, pretty much, except for, honestly, no, he's probably going to be referenced in 4, since we've seen clips of his firearm, or, there you go.
You? One more step and it'll be your last. You should have seen the look on your face.
Yeah.
Hey, newcomer. I've been looking for you.
Yeah, so TK is, the reason I was saying he's probably referenced is we've actually seen a gun that uses his namesake firearm that we actually get later from his questline in this game, its signature wave pattern. He's a little bit worse for wear. He's a little bit messed up, but
Don't
he's
worry
a
about
happy
me.
guy.
I can take
He's
care
a
of
happy guy.
myself. I'll get by just fine. All right? I'm okay.
So he actually hooks us up with our first optional quest. Here in just a minute. Gonna knock this out. In case you couldn't tell, also, as he just kind of explained there, he's blind, so you know he's been making a bunch of puns already. Like, you should have seen the look on your face. Yeah, he's blind. He can't see the look on my face. He's fucking blind, and he's just fucking.
Getting stronger by the minute.
Kind of a neat aspect compared to the other games. In Borderlands 1, you have to be level 5 before you get your action skill. You know, in Borderlands 3, they actually changed that down to level 3, if I remember correctly. I think it's the same in Borderlands 4 as what it was looking like, based off skill points. Just counting what we've seen in some of the gameplay. So that's pretty cool. Looking like we're eventually going to get to a point where they kind of make sure that we're getting skill points pretty much right away. Because these first couple skill, like, level ups are just kind of meaningless to a degree. So, one weird aspect of Borderlands 1 compared to 2, which was kind of the major comparison for a long time because these were the first two games and kind of had the longest dwell time. So Borderlands 1, with the significantly lower scaling, you end up having a much more gradual power
Smells
creep
like
of the actual
off-world.
damage numbers.
How you liking our planet, anyways?
So this is where we're going to be able to get our first grenade.
I'm
But what I was talking about relating to the numbers. So example, yes, this sniper does 54 damage, but it's a legendary, and these are incredibly power scaled, out of this world. Same thing with this revolver. That, you know, these are both completely busted. These are intentionally just tuned to 1,000,000. This is a green shotgun, 9x9. That, you know, this is a fairly strong shotgun. 7x11. You know, that's a pretty decent shotgun. Neither of these are bad shotguns. But, like, that is good damage for early game. Like, a no-level shotgun. Whereas in Borderlands 2, you would already be seeing, you know, in the realm of more than that. Probably, I'd say, a level 0 shotgun would already be at similar to this, and then a level 10 shotgun would already be up to, let's call it 50 by whatever. I could be exaggerating that, but the point is, when you get to level 50, the damage on this shotgun here, the same SG-14 terrible shotgun, green rarity at level 50, will be significantly lower. This will be a this will be some maybe 100x9 damage. On Borderlands 2, this gun at level 50 would be 10,000x9. The scaling just goes so over the top that it makes it where numbers stop meaning anything, or they can't mean the same thing effectively. If that makes sense? They just kind of have to go a little out of whack, which turned Borderlands, especially once they got into the OP levels, it made them very feature-friendly. So, it's not that it's a bad thing, but that's one thing why I love this game so much more than 2, personally. A lot of people think of 2 as the peak of the franchise. I still kind of hold this game in a slightly higher regard. you know, that's personal bias mostly, but it is what it is. Or perfect example, a level 13 transfusion grenade mod here. Transfusions typically have a good bit lower damage, and by good bit we're talking like 5 at most on level with other grenade damage mods. So a 35 grenade damage. You tell me what a bonus package does at the earliest level you can get it, which is like, what, 8? If you go kill Boom Boom and get a level 8 bonus package, that's already going to be like 150 by, what, 9? That's kind of what I meant. So here we're going to stock up on grenades, and I'm actually going to grab my revolver ammo. So it's always really important in these games to check the vendors, because the vendors can have so many different things, and unlike Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, Borderlands 3 did a pretty good job about it, but since legendaries were so much easier to get, it wasn't really as important. Every item in this game can be fairly useful, especially when you're grinding through the early game. So it's really important to look through this and try to find something. So even this, for example, the item of the day. This is just a decent little SMG, nothing really to talk about. But this patrol SMG is pretty solid. Just a really good upgrade for me if I wanted to take it. So you can go based off of parts for these shotguns too, just seeing kind of what's different about them. If you look, you can see kind of the main differences between these two. These both have the exact same parts except for the receiver. Does that make sense? And that changes the difference between the damage prefix, or the damage amount. That's why this does 8, this does 7. That's all. Whereas this one has the same parts except for the barrel. Same. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna... Because I know one of the guns that we're actually going to pick up here shortly, I'm actually just going to sell that.
You don't need to be a better shot. You just need to shoot more bullets.
Because we're actually going to pick up something pretty cool here in a bit, which allows me to kind of get away with knowing I can sell all those repeaters and not really worry about it. In Borderlands 1, we actually have a system called proficiencies. That's kind of your continued growth system for your weapon
Hey, newcomer.
skills, I guess is a good way to put it, or like talents. So you're actually here. So if we come over here to your weapon proficiencies, you would see you only have one for handguns, so repeaters and revolvers fall under the same. SMGs, then you have your shotguns, assault rifles, combat rifles, they're all the same thing. Snipers, launchers, and Iridians. Iridian weapons are only in this game, in the form that they take in this game at least. Borderlands 2 has Iridian infused weapons, is a good way to put it at least, but not quite the same thing. These are actual Iridian weapons, like literal alien guns. But as we get these, once we get this first proficiency level, it'll show you kind of more what this system is. But as you gain XP with these weapons, you'll get proficiency levels. and it goes all the way up to 50. And once you get to 50 on it, you won't get any more levels. And you can max out all these to 50, and it just gives you baseline stats that help you out. So there's kind of no negative to maxing them all out, especially if you plan to continue playing with that character. Hold on. Alright guys, I'm super sorry about that. I actually had a dude show up trying to offer to mow my yard. Hello kid.
Looking for you.
Gotta respect the hustle, but you know, now we're good. Point is, with proficiencies, so it does kind of benefit you to try and use
There are just some
specific
things
weapons.
that are too hard to do without the use of my
Especially if you are kind of running a early playthrough at least. You're kind of stuck to, you know, whatever you can find, obviously, but you can kind of tailor that to knowing what you're going to be targeting. Remember, it's just pistols, so TMPs, repeaters, and revolvers all count for the same thing. Subs, so thumpers and traditional subs, all count. Shotguns are all shotguns. Combat rifles count for the actual combat rifles. So like doll style, the burst combat rifles, and the machine guns, the assault rifles that, like, actual machine guns. You know, although it sounds obvious, in this game, there's two styles of combat rifles, and they both fall under the same one. So if you're playing through and you feel like you're going to be drawn to those types of weapons, that's cool. Just make sure you're sticking to that, or you're searching for those when you're looking for weapon upgrades and stuff like that, or when you have options in quests. Make sure you're looking for that. Snipers are pretty cut and dry. There's only a few oddities when it comes to snipers. Most of them are pretty similar. You're gonna see a couple unique kind of standouts. Launchers, most launchers are very similar. Iridians, all Iridians fit under this. Every Iridian is its own archetype of a weapon, but they're all the same. They all count. I tend to try to go for, on Lilith at least, I tend to go for subs for sure. She has a lot of stuff that synergizes with submachine guns, as well as, and that's mostly because elementals really can work nicely with it.
I just
There we go.
getting better.
Handguns are also pretty nice. I also love snipers in general in this game, but try to keep it kind of shook up a little bit. So subs are kind of my go-to, but it's always nice to keep like one of the kind of multiple option-esque weapons. So like the combat rifle, the or the handgun, like in your steady rotation. You do end up getting 4 weapon slots. So you don't take too long to get that 4th weapon slot in the game, but it does take a bit. Your 3rd weapon slot comes in probably
Whoa! I heard that blast all the way over here.
I'd say like an hour and a half, 2 hours of like pretty regular play.
A piece of that.
Once you have an idea what you're doing. I would suggest, kind of aim for 3 weapons. Is kind of your really solid point. If you're going past that, you're probably really not gonna do too much there. In this game, also buying ammo really not a problem. You're kind of good. Just whenever and wherever, you're fine. So this is Lilith's action skill. It's called Phase Walk. So reading it, you can see it on screen, but essentially what it does is it allows me to go invisible. I get quite a bit of movement speed, and I can go, and like when I go in and exit Phase Walk, I have a Nova around me that damages everyone, and I can melee to end the Phase Walk early. So essentially I get a nuke of elemental energy around me, and I can augment that energy with whatever element with the Iridian artifacts. All characters get access to these, and it augments their action skill differently. And then I can hit it again. But this is really good because your shield can actually regen while you're in Phase Walk. So she has one of the best kind of take a breather, just kind of sit back. Not necessarily the best defensive action skill, but the only action skill that you literally are just full invulnerable. I really personally love it for solo play because you can just kind of full separate yourself from whatever the issue is if you are in kind of a bind. In Borderlands, for the most part, you cannot crit without hitting a weak spot. So, on a skag, for example, the weak spot's the inside of that mouth. So, what I was talking about with that interesting gun, so I wasn't super worried about anything because we're going to find the ladyfinger. So the ladyfinger is really fun because it actually is a pistol with a bunch of extra crit damage. So in a normal playthrough, if I didn't have the fun gearbox weapons that are just kind of busted, what you could do is you'd grab these. The ladyfinger magically gives you a significantly stronger option because of that crit damage. Especially on a human target. Skags, they're only going to open their mouth when they're jumping or something along that line. So, hit or miss, I would say.
You are about to face your first real challenge.
The only problem is, as you saw, that crit for 51. This does 41 on its own. So, if you can tell, you see quite the difference here. It's definitely dope. It's really fun. But that kind of helps show why you're not supposed to have a revolver at this point. Or a sniper. Neither of these are supposed to be something you should be able to get. 800% crit damage, 54 damage, that's a little busted.
I hope you've toughened up enough.
So that's why we're not using that, or trying not to use that very much. They're fun, but they're definitely a bit overtuned for this.
Who needs a real doctor when you got my machines and their scary needles?
Might be able to actually grab that. Oh, also in the first game here, so people actually drop what they are shooting you with.
I'm really good at this.
So if you see a guy shooting a launcher, he can drop that launcher, which is really cool and also terrifying, you know. So in cases where someone's dropping a specific unique, there's a couple times where you're actually farming legendary. This is Nine Toes. You'll find out about him shortly.
Ah, yeah.
Yep. But yeah, the problem with that is you actually okay. Well, you actually only have a couple issues with you know, them dropping what they have. You run into the issue of people, in some cases, being able to show you what they are gonna drop. So when you're farming certain uniques, you can actually see what they're gonna drop before they actually die, which is really dope.
Time to play.
So this is my first time going down. So perfect time to show you guys the second wind mechanic. So in all of the games so far, they have had a second wind mechanic, or essentially a, you know, get back in the fight kind of thing. So when you go down, you can actually get back up if you are able to just get a kill. You know, some people have skills that allow them to do different things while they're down. Not necessarily just stay down and hope they survive. Other people are stuck for the whole time. As you can see, the Ladyfinger is a massive win for this fight. It's super great. And double purple from Pinky. Oh my god. Dude, that's Pinky and Digit. You know, in case you didn't notice, Nine Toes, you know, also has 3 balls, and his 2 skags are Pinky and Digit. Just more kind of nods to his condition. Had to take care of that. Okay. Also, in most of the arenas here, there's a, you know, couple containers, stuff like that. But specifically in this one, he has the one chest back there, and he also has a chest over on this side. So there are specific differences, and they actually kind of lean into this a bit more in some of the later games. Red chests, as opposed to this white chest, are better at giving better loot. So specifically, it's not like you're always going to get good loot out of a red chest, but specifically, they have a better chance at giving good loot.
Mine, and mine.
You know, it. Oh yeah, I got a green. You know, it's not guaranteed by any means, but you are more likely to get a better drop from a red chest than a green, or a white chest, I mean. And you can get a world drop item from any container that is of certain types, such as like skag piles or trash cans, like dumpsters. You can get items from that, like legendary stuff like that. Anything can come out of those. You cannot get stuff like you can't get like a gun out of the little banker boxes. I don't think there's any over here, but you kind of get my point. Stuff like that doesn't actually fit in there. That is, I guess, the reasoning. So be it. It's kind of dumb, but you know, whatever works for them. That's why there's a little, I don't want to call it an exploit, but a little strategy that some people will use for some early game aspects.
You must listen.
When they want to kind of
is not important.
help themselves
First
out
thing you must
with some of the
know,
early game.
The vault is real. People will mislead you. They will try to use you, and you cannot be swayed in your purpose. The vault is here, and we will find it. This world is full of dangers. Still yourself and go. I'll be watching.
Oh. So, if anyone's curious, there is actually an achievement for killing something by Goomba stomping, which is really funny because the achievement's literally called "My Brother's an Italian Plumber" or something like that. You know, obviously it's a nod at Mario. Easiest way to do it is honestly just doing it in one of these early areas with a skag. Yep. Yeah, my brother's an Italian plumber. So, as you can see there, yeah, not very difficult. Obviously, I haven't played the remaster game all that much. Most of my time was on the original game. That was kind of a neat thing to be able to show off, in case no one's ever done it before, or someone's never done it before. You know, I don't even know if it's a secret achievement or if it's just plainly written out. So now it's time to go see Mr. TK once again. He's gonna actually have a couple other tasks for us this time. This is another one of the really cool aspects of having Lilith. Using phase walk just for traversal is super convenient.
You're not a skag, are you?
And it comes back pretty quick.
No? Well, lucky you.
There we
I
go.
wanna shoot skag.
So,
Mostly, anyways.
9 toes. Now, it's the hardest part of the mission. Just gotta go talk to Zed. Ned. I mean Zed. You know. No relation. Sorry about that. Alrighty. Now it is time for the
That's a grenade
basic
mod.
bounty board.
Equip that, and you'll find that your protein grenades are suddenly more powerful, and are now equipped with special abilities. Always be on the lookout for.
This has been, some people complain about it on the initial reveals,
New and different.
and they've actually done something kind of neat to help fix it. I'm curious what you guys think. So initially they had just the battle compass, like what they have here towards the bottom of your screen. Because in the remaster here they added in the mini-map. But initially the game just had the compass. With Borderlands 4, they were going back to just a compass. Granted, it was a more refined compass than this. It would have some kind of indicator showing what elevation the enemies were on, stuff like that. It was a much better compass. People were complaining, though, because they wanted a mini-map. I think the mini-map is a little unnecessary. I like the compass. It's not that, a mini-map's bad, but I definitely think a compass is more than fine.
Med school degree.
So what do you guys think? Do you think a mini-map is what we have to have to be, successful in the game? Or is that like, are we kind of good where we're at? What do you guys think?
What do you need?
Because what they did was a weird kind of radar of sorts. So not quite like a mini-map, but it's a somewhat map thing with just a radar showing you where you are and then where the people are around you. So it's just a map with no actual discerning features of the land, just showing you the enemies. Alright. Let's find something neat. A TMP is always really fun, but they just chew through ammo, especially early game when you don't have much SDUs like taken care of yet or anything like that. You just really can't sustain them, so it's really not worth it.
Want to make a bigger move? Buy a better mod. I've got all kinds.
That being the case, let's go and check out the
medical equipment working.
age-old method we talked about earlier to kind of fix that. And actually, while we're at that, let's go over our haul that we actually got. So the key thing that we got is pretty much our first unique. So this is the Clipper. It's a named unique weapon. It's the red text and the unique name. So this purple that we got is a fanged repeater, with some random nomenclature above it. So it's just a randomly generated purple. Still good. And then the purple is the rarity that denotes the quality of the parts. So it's typically going to have better stats, better everything than a green of the same kind of setup. But this being a unique, even though it's a blue unique, it's got something special. That's typically kind of where it is. Uniques are always kind of just interesting. So the flavor text on this, don't drop it, you might lose a toe. More of a callback to our friend Nine Toes. 100% melee damage, bladed fire repeater. This is always kind of a fun early game elemental weapon. I don't personally think we need it, even though it probably wouldn't be a bad thing, especially when we have another really good repeater there, or the ladyfinger itself. But we just have two other really good options. So I don't really think we need the Clipper right now. That's a pretty nice sniper rifle. So you know, the manufacturers that follow through into the other games are all really, you know, they kind of retain their identity and expand on it into the second game and the third. Like, they all really hold true to that, you know, by gaining the, what is it, the ricochet mechanic and that kind of thing. But in the first game, it's more of just kind of a vibe that they kind of the weapons tend to go for. Jacob's weapons tend to be higher damage, slower fire rates, just kind of raw damage. That's it. Vladoff tend to be volume of fire. Hedior tends to be the more kind of generic vibe, is, I guess, a good way to put it. Hyperion, much more accurate. That's Hyperion is more focused on accuracy. S&S is one that's actually not found in any other game outside of the first game, which, you know, RIP. I've been a heavy proponent for bringing my boys back. They make some of the most fun snipers in the first game, so I'd love to have them back. Dahl, as you probably know them from the first game, or the second game, as, you know, the really neat burst fire mechanic. They, in this game, it's kind of a very similar kind of vibe of the militarized, just kind of industrial setup. They all have an identity kind of to them, but it's not quite as truly unique, if that makes sense. In the second game, they really kind of break out, and it matters so much more. And then it gets pushed even to the 11th, you know, degree, I guess. That's a horrible way to put it, but you get what I mean. It's nice, and so is the sniper, but slow fire rate and the crit damage is just not great, so I really don't care. The 200 crit damage versus 800, like, I just think it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think so. So. So I can sell pretty much all of this.
Everyone else does.
You know, we got really lucky getting 2 purples off that, but they don't really matter. So, you know, it is what it is kind of thing. So we could visit TK. We could visit TK first, but since we did just kind of pick up a good chunk of money, I think it's probably a good idea to go ahead and maybe come over this way. I don't think I mean, we could definitely do it, but, like, you know, should we? Killing Bonehead. Bonehead is actually another. He can actually give us another unique hybrid.
Did you know that by aiming your crosshairs at an enemy, your HUD can display your target's level, health, and shield strength? The higher level an enemy, the more dangerous they will
So
be.
that, you know,
If you see a skull, you'd better get out of there fast.
give us a Shredder Avenger.
Who the hell are you? Don't look at my arm. Nobody looks at my arm. Keep walking. That's right. Keep walking.
Yeah, probably shouldn't. It was worth the thought. Tried to be greedy. It's also not near as like punishing in this game to die as the second. The second game is incredibly punishing. Yeah, maybe not incredibly punishing, but like the second game does punish you quite a bit in terms of monetary loss, or at least it feels very punishing. I'll probably just go with Slayer here. She has 3 main skill trees. There are obviously 3 skill trees here. The skill trees get significantly more complicated in the later games. For Borderlands 1, obviously much simpler, and in a lot of cases that makes your life a lot simpler with your choices you got to make, which is pretty nice and easy for just picking. In my case, with Lilith, I tend to really like going for the elemental tree here in the middle, ending up with Phoenix, as well as also going for the controller tree on the side. The assassin tree over here is really good for your early game, allowing for kind of basic just stat bonuses. And then kind of once you max out these first 2 tiers, getting your 10th stat point right around level 15 or so, then you can start actually transitioning, respec, and go into either of these 2 trees, whichever you feel like, based on weapons and the such that you're getting. Just kind of how your playthrough's going. But just kind of really based on how you feel in the moment with your game. I'm gonna actually get these 2 kills here. Just more free XP.
newcomer. I've been looking for you. Thanks. There's some things that are too hard to do without the use of my eyes. Hey now, if you ever need anything,
So, here we are going to go back to the previous location where we were when we fought Nine Toes. These are the two quests that TK gives us. So he wants some seeds from a few plants, as well as he wants us to get back his leg. You know, kind of what I pointed out earlier, he's a little worse for wear. But old Uncle Teddy is a good friend of ours, right? So we're going to actually look out for him. We're going to do our best to hook him up.
Get your meds here.
Go ahead and grab this. So that's an interesting character we're going to see here in a good little bit. He'll probably tell us more about himself then.
Is there no end to my power?
So I'm actually just running to get these echoes for that thing that we picked up. Getting some of the free easy XP. Like I said, the way that they kind of rebalance some of the... Like I said, I don't know if it's they balance enemies differently or the XP differently. Like in terms of the overall game, whether it's enemies, your XP, or the guns themselves, they like mess with that. But something was changed and made the game a bit tougher on the actual like gameplay. I don't know, but I kind of like it, you know, especially being that I played through the game as much as I did growing up. You know, them making it feel a bit harder once I started going back to it again, really kind of made it fun. Sadly, I didn't really come back to it a ton with the remaster. Mostly just had a bunch of other stuff going on between life and other games, but kind of get it. I think it was an overall good decision. These are the banker's box, like little money boxes that I was saying earlier. For example, can't have a gun pop out of them. So this is a thumper. These are the SMGs that I'm not a huge fan of. Super low fire rate, but heavy damage. Just not really my cup of tea. They're cool, but, you know. Yeah. So let's yeah. Let's go meet our friend Scar. That right there is an interesting part of the ecology on Pandora that we'll get intimately familiar with later on. So once I actually kill Bonehead, there's a couple interesting little things we can do with the cars. I'll actually try and show you guys a neat little thing we used to do and run out of bounds, actually. And get back to the original kind of starting spot. Like get back to where Marcus dropped you off with the car. The reason I tried to avoid killing stuff that was seeming to make it away from me was I didn't want anything that was gonna drop loot to drop loot off the map. So all of those bloated rocks are going to probably drop something, and I want to make sure I get all of those goodies. So that is our friend Scar, who took PK's leg. Because their models aren't like perfect, you can actually kind of sneak in there. Right in between his mouth. That's what you saw me trying to do there a couple times. And there we got old TK's leg. Yep. You know, it's the little things.
Hope I'm lucky.
Another, pretty much the same thing to repeater. Okay, so because I'm probably just gonna sell this stuff, I'm perfectly fine with just dropping those two repeaters, because it doesn't really affect me all that much if I just got rid of them. So if I drop it and get it out of my inventory, may not be the best in terms of maximizing, my money, which I shouldn't really need all that much money, but what I'm going to be able to do here shortly, as soon as I can, I mean, I guess I could go try the grenade jump now. Yeah. So, you know what? I'll actually I'll send it now. So that fence that I actually pointed out to you guys earlier, we can go ahead and use that for if I can get over it, which I think I should be able to. And we will hop over to go do a little bit of shopping, but not necessarily at the med vendor. We got a couple other people we might want to go see. I'm gonna go see TK first, though. Turn in his leg, but that's just because he's a little bit further from the destination we want. So hit him, then go back to Firestone, turn in this quest.
You're not a skag, are you? No? Well, lucky you.
So this is a unique shotgun,
Mostly
TK's
anyways.
Wave. Ride the wave, dude. This is what I was talking about earlier, in terms of what we saw in the game.
I hate to send
So
you away.
that wave
Company
pattern,
and all, but I
we've
gotta
already
check
seen
it
that
out.
in some of the
Gotta take care of the
early footage that's gotten captured for the game. At 12. So the problem with wave, the wave is it does shoot that full horizontal pattern, so it's a little harder to guarantee you're going to get like a really good packed shot, whereas with some of these other shotguns you can do a much better job of kind of getting that really solid shot. I do like that that's bladed, has bonus reload, but I think I might just kind of stick to this one. Yeah, I'm probably gonna just eat all of these, to be honest with you, but you know, is what it is.
our new bounties available at Firestone.
Ooh, got a shield upgrade, so don't even need to worry about that actually.
Those guns absorb a lot of recoil, allowing you to stay accurate throughout the night.
That longbow grenade is pretty nice. Trying to pretend like I'm trying to be super accurate when realistically shouldn't care. So in all of the games, you can essentially just grenade jump by unequipping your current grenade. So you're using the base grenade with no added effects. It does the least amount of damage. Throw it at your feet. So they walled it off completely. I feel like I remember that as if I did check that. So, last idea for this spot is specifically this. That's crazy. Okay, I guess. Well. Okay, we'll take a good old college try at killing Bonehead. How about that? Oh, that's so dog shit. Wow.
I'm gonna eat you when I'm done.
If I could hit a shot, this would be easy. Actually. Wow. like I said, I'm just kind of being dog shit. It also doesn't help there is accuracy in this game, and it's actual accuracy, so it's not like a pseudo thing. Like, you know, I'm bad,
Yes,
but
feel it.
the gun's actually missing also.
All right, boys, take him out.
So this is the Bone Shredder. You'd know it's the hybrid if... I don't know where he went. We'll probably find the Psycho in a minute. But you'd know it's the hybrid if it also had ammo regen. That's probably the easiest way. But pretty good early SMG. Yeah. Obviously, if you can get the hybrid, it's pretty good. One really good thing about this, so obviously the Bone Shredder here is shooting 2 projectiles at the same time, which they added in the second game, and kind of stuck to that really heavily. So if a gun is, you know, double barrel, like this shotgun is just a single barrel shotgun, it's not anything crazy, but like some of the guns, like in this case with a 2x prefix, to get that would cause it to shoot and use 2 ammo per shot. So this game really like capitalizes greatly on that aspect of it. It's something I personally loved, but you know, so you can use that to a lot greater aspect. Some guns get away with it in the other games as well, obviously, but in this game specifically, most guns get away with it super well, in the sense of being able to kind of skirt that line. Oh.
More.
It didn't open the door that time, that's why. Works for me.
Greetings, traveler! New missions are available at the Firestone Bounty Board.
Get out of here.
That right there.
So these cars actually have a auto aim function.
Second you ask her, and be sure to hit the boost to know whoever wants to catch a ride with the scooter man.
You're going down!
So if you're the only one in the car, you can actually auto aim the turret.
Oh, hell, did you just...
They actually changed the challenge system? No. So this is actually a really goofy way to like farm a shitload of XP. Early game too. What you can do is, so you get XP just from these challenges here. So obviously, oh cool, you know 2,500 human enemy kills, 20,000 XP. That's half of the total experience I've gotten so far. So obviously, like that's not a ton. If I could get that right this moment, yeah, that's cool. But like, is that really going to change the scope of everything if I would have gotten that now? No, it's not really going to change anything for you. But some of these, you can do some really like neat stuff. So the money one. So what you can do is like, there's some interesting ways you can manipulate your money to get this one, and essentially max this out now, and even earn this same achievement several times and just stack this over and over. You can farm this dual one. Some people will do that. All of these. So here you are. So these are for vehicle hang time. So I want you to get, and obviously this is not a ton, but a total of what, 3,500 and then 5,000. So 8,500 XP.
One of my runners? Man, dude, tell me when you're gonna do that crap. That was awesome.
This is that vendor I told you about earlier that we used to be able to come to way earlier. We've been live for about an hour and a half. What's up, AC Josh? What's going on, dude? So I'm just playing through all the games leading up to the 4th game. But yeah, this is Shep Sanders, and this is the vendor that can have significantly better shields and stuff right away. We could have gotten this same tier of purple shield right away if we could have hopped over. Nothing too crazy that I care about right now, though. You actually, it's typically better for you to hop out of the car and do combat by yourself, if you can, also. Just for future reference. So now we're up to adult skags.
Getting stronger by the minute.
Which is pretty dope. So you actually get a level up bonus. So for about 30 seconds to a minute, I don't remember exactly, you actually get a huge damage bonus shortly after you actually level up. And that's true in every game. So whenever you're playing, especially if you're mid, like, big area, if you know that you're about to do something like level up, push off that level up right before you're coming up to maybe a boss fight or something like that. Maybe try to stretch that. That way you can get to the actual fight. It'll help you quite a bit. So what you can do to help push that achievement is feather that a little bit. You're ideally wanting to actually like launch with the boost and then feather it. So I'm gonna try to do that the right way now. Sadly, that wasn't any better, but actually, let's go ahead and show you the neat little thing that me and the homies used to do back in the day. So, with this, now that we have cars, so we can actually come over here and go out of bounds, or we should be able to, unless they changed it on us. So right here. Cool. Okay, so got the car stuck, and then trying to fix it. Got myself stuck, falling into the void. As you can see, you know, they may not have perfectly fixed all of the map, but that's good. That means some of the other fun little things that we used to do and play with might still be open. Um, I guess I'll talk to Zed while I'm here. There you go. Yep. So, like I said before, this is our third SDU. So we get that one pretty quick. I feel like I gotta throw. I feel like I gotta at least have the pistol on.
You don't need to be a better shot. You just need to shoot
as you can see, now we're starting to get into, you know, actual leveled, useful things. But times 2 element, and then that elemental is coming from just better quality parts. Nothing super important there.
Lightweight and incredibly fast reload speeds. TDR makes an easy-to-use gun. It's hard to see new opportunities with all the
Sadly, they still didn't add in the buy all function, which is still to this day probably the best function they could have possibly added. Actually the best thing they've ever done.
This man, Sledge, has something we need. You are going to get it from him. Sledge is a bad man who has done terrible things to the people of Firestone. Do
I don't
what
know.
you must.
Sledge and Sledge's voice actor really aren't that bad of guys. So we're gonna try this again. So what I was trying to do earlier, so we pop over here, you know. So the scary turrets with the big lasers are just more of a suggestion. This is a bit too far. Yep. It's okay, we'll get this next time. One more time, promise.
I'm really good at this. Let's get some wheels.
I believe. And you should too. You know, if anyone ends up giving this VOD a watch, I'd really appreciate it if you could actually give a follow. You know, check me out on YouTube as well. Same name, Nerd with No Land. I probably won't have anything on the YouTube yet. The main thing is I'm really just wanting to try to get into this and kind of go from there. I'm gonna just go on foot to actually show you this. I wasn't able to get it with the car. I'd rather try to show you guys instead of you know, fighting with that. Yeah, it still works. So, fake wall. You know, the lasers are scary, but they should stop here shortly. And oh, lo and behold, that's a familiar road. So, especially in this game and 2, a lot of the maps are gonna be built like this. I didn't explore a ton of pre-sequel and 3, so I can't speak on that necessarily. But the maps are built very partially, you know. They almost look like giant swaths of Lego plates with half of it just not being real, you know. Doesn't exist. Like, what's that there for? Who knows? But we used to be able to get our cars back here, and if I probably played with it more, I could probably get the car back here still. So you could actually drive your car all the way up And oh, they blocked it off. That's funny. Okay. Well, as you can see, and because it's stopping me from getting within a couple feet of it, they probably did the same thing with just shoving a big, you know, non-existent wall there, is my guess. So it's not even worth trying to grenade jump or anything like that. That's kind of lame. It'd be a lot more fun if they did something. But, you know, you take what you get. I do watch quite a few other content creators that do, you know, mess with Borderlands. So, you know, you have the Jolts dudes and some of those guys that would probably know most of this stuff too, and they all kind of... I would probably expect them to know this stuff a bit more than I do. Maybe at least? I don't know. It'd be kind of neat to find out that I know a bit more of these than they do. But probably should have just saved, quitted, but it's only money, right? You know. It's not like that's a limited resource. So, this time, actually though. So we're gonna hop in the car.
Let's get out of here.
And gonna go shopping. So I'm actually gonna go shopping this time. So unlike the case of with Zed's store, where, you know, he's just forced to only have like low grade stuff. The gun shop there, you know, Marcus's little Firestone tent. It's not that it's necessarily set up to be bad. I mean, it is, but like, he will most likely never have anything worthwhile for you. He is set to be a lower tier shop, at least for this early game period. Everyone is set for certain like level points at certain periods and certain quality standards, I think. So you can actually come here to one of the arenas, like the Circle of Slaughter missions, that kind of come into play in the later games as well. I think this is probably my preferred method of how they kind of get implemented. I think they just get really long and drawn out and really unfun in the later games. I think this rendition of them is the best, but Borderlands 1 also has the absolute worst rendition of them in the entire Moxie DLC. If you have not played Borderlands 1 and experienced Moxie's Underdome, you don't know true pain. The Underdome is... like, to play through the Underdome in its entirety, to get all of the achievements, takes an actual, like, ironclad will of some, like, ungodly level. So, as you can see, all of these are incredibly more expensive than what's at Firestone. You know, the item of the day is $18,000 purple. That's a really nice SMG. Wouldn't mind it. But we ain't got that. So, yeah. Didn't necessarily expect to find anything like super crazy over here though. You know, the SDUs are nice. You can grab these. I'm not super worried about that because we are going to go do the other option for SDUs here shortly. So, in the third game, you can actually save, quit, and be at any not fast travel, any new U pylon, like save pylon. Whereas in the other games, those pylons are just for actual saving. It doesn't actually allow you to save, quit, and then spawn there. So as you can tell, you only spawn at ones that you could also respec or fast travel from. Which is pretty nice because it makes it where I'm able to just fast travel right back. As well as it resets stuff like item of the days, all that kind of fun stuff. I checked that. It shouldn't really be anything of note here, to be honest, but worth checking. So this is Moxie's Underdome that I was talking about. But we're going to actually go over to the third DLC that was released, T-Bone Junction.
You are late. We must speak immediately, but I'm afraid for my own security, and therefore you must jump through a hoop or two. Talk to the mechanic. He knows where to find me. And a word of caution, don't touch him if you ever want to eat with your hands again.
So, these are the reason that we are here. These SDUs, and I mean, I guess, stuff like this. We will not be able to obviously equip any of these, but finding stuff like that.
Getting meatballs, didn't think I'd ever see your dumb. You ain't getting nowhere with that wheel, boy. And maybe girl. I've been cooking up something new, but I ain't finished the booster system yet. Need a bit of citric sauce if you're willing to lend a hand. Alright, hey, what I'm gonna need is an X372 supercharger, but not the 373. There's what we're calling that thing on account of people burning live and shit. Also a big old tank of nitrous and one of them fancy exhaust booger things. You know what it does, man.
We open the trash can.
Hello, traveler. There are new missions available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
And because all of these...
Oh, smoking Jesus titty cinnamon, that is a monster! That's gonna be sweet!
Scooter's having a good time. Because all of these can drop money and or items, like the one you just saw there. And there's a red chest, which is going to give us items. So, this is a purple rifle giving us $63,000. And a class mod, which we wouldn't be seeing any of these for quite a while in our normal playthrough. Oh, hey, Blue Candy 69, what's going on? I don't know what that emote is, but it's pretty adorable, dude. Just a heads up, if I don't see anything in chat right away, give me a second. This is kind of first shebang at trying to stream. So apologies. Give me a little bit of grace on that. But what's going on? So this is kind of the easy run at trying to farm a little bit of easy money. It's kind of the lazy man's way to go about it. So then just save, exit, pop back in, and then you'll come straight back to T-Bone, and you'll do this again. Get a little bit of money just so you can get a couple of those SDUs. Stack some extra money. This will make any deaths significantly more painful, losing money-wise.
locations available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
Nope, no luck on that one.
Do not worry. Pandora is the 13th most important planet within our interglobal dominion. We might not spend much of our budget on you, but at least you're not on Promethea.
At least we're not Promethea. That's all that matters, right, guys?
Mine, mine, and mine.
Another purple. So, as you can see, if it's a white item, you know, the price goes down quite a bit. That's 19,000. You know, we take what we can get. But something's better than nothing, so we can work with it. Oh, we got a bit of rain going on outside. Okay, so
Hello, traveler.
we'll
There are new
do
missions
is
available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
When our schedule will permit your defense. If you are stabbed, control the bleeding as best you can. If you find yourself bitten, walk it off. We will protect you.
so the goal is, like I said, just to get enough money to buy a couple of those SDUs and hopefully have a little excess so that we can do some shopping at the other market there. Don't exactly want to do just a shitload of actual farming for this. Like, the goal isn't to have $1 billion. Obviously, it just kind of you can do this for as much as you want. You know, don't get me trying to tell you how to play the game. But this is not fast enough of a farm to really sit here and do for hours on end. This is probably worth to do for, you know, solid 10, 15. You're gonna fairly reliably get 1 or 2 weapons from the boxes up there. All of these give you money down here, and then you got the chest down here. So it shakes out to probably be worth it. I personally like it, at least. That's, you know, kind of the way I go about it. I am gonna apologize, you know, preemptively. Both of my dogs might lose their mind if it does start to thunder or lightning. It's kind of hit or miss, but sometimes they do kind of wig out over that. So just giving a forewarning. I'll try to mute if I catch something about to happen, like if they might freak out, but if they do and I don't catch it, that's my bad, guys. But I just wanted to give that warning. Is there any kind of like actual questions?
Hello, Traveler.
I guess is
There
a
are
good
new
way to
missions
like
available on the T-Bone Junction
put it.
bounty board.
Like, does any like do you? I guess. If we were to say like for Borderlands 4, obviously, is there something that
Do not worry.
people
Pandora
would
is the
say
13th most important planet within our interglobal dominion. We might not spend
is
much
their
of our
biggest
budget on
kind
you,
of
but at least you're not on
question?
Promethea.
Trying to find out how to manage extensions. Sorry, guys.
I don't have time to just stand here.
Okay. Back to trying to set up the extension manager shit. Sorry for any kind of delay there, guys. Alright, so back to work. Let's get this. Let's get this bread, guys. I'll probably go for, I guess, probably go for 2 SDUs. My target would be probably pistol and SMG. Excuse me. Oh, see? Yui, I'm full. Yeah, I'll probably go for enough to buy 2 SUs at least. That's the goal.
Make sure you're packing.
Whatever.
Give us your hungry, and we'll give them our leftovers. Give us your poor, and we'll give them a job that might pay. Give us your weary, and we'll make them sing us a song. We are Atlas.
So there we go. Got the SMG at least. It's kind of a really nice setup just to get started with. whether it still works or not, there's also a way with the car. Once you get your cars here, you can actually get down to the ground level below everything.
Let's see what we've got.
Launcher? Cool. The main reason why people like doing this method is also because when doing this, you're getting access to the legendary SDUs. So you're not having to buy, like, you know, the common SDU right off the bat. You're able to just shoot straight up to the higher end one, kind of knock it out.
There are new missions available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
Kind of makes life easier just going straight to that, not having to worry about baby stepping it.
And we'll give them a job that might pay. Give us your weary, and we'll make them sing us a song. We are Atlas.
The loot's be mine.
Ooh, big money.
Don't settle for anything less than the best.
Hello, Traveler. There are new missions available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
Who are your leaders? Who makes the decisions that will most affect your lives? Before you answer, Atlas.
Look at all this stuff.
You found an explosive weapon. Shots fired from these weapons have a chance of exploding on impact.
Dude, the birds outside. The, you know, the rain I was talking about a little bit ago, like, seems to have chilled, but the birds outside are having a screeching match now. I don't know what. Whatever. Okay, I don't want to necessarily do this forever. I can see I'm at, you know, a little over 200k, plus I picked up some items last run. Hopefully this run gives me a few items.
Hello, Traveler. There are new missions available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
Ideally some, like, higher tier items. That way I'm getting good money from it, you know, 50k plus.
Do not worry. worry. Pandora is the 13th most important planet within our interglobal dominion. We might not spend much of our budget on you, but at least you're not on Promethea.
Green grenade mod wasn't really what I was hoping for, but you know.
Let's see what we've got.
Green sniper's also not really what I was hoping for, but probably gonna have to do. Mostly don't want to waste too much time here. Like I said, the goal of this whole kind of journey is to at least get through an individual playthrough of each game. I know we have over 2 months, but I don't want to rush any of this. I kind of want this to be a enjoyable playthrough of each game. It's a series I love, and you know I want this to feel good for everyone. I want anyone that does ever decide to go through this and watch it to be able to feel kind of the love I get from this series every time I get to play it. I want you to see exactly what I feel every time I touch the game, if that makes sense.
Hello, traveler. There are new missions available on the T-Bone Junction bounty board.
Who are your leaders? Who makes the decisions that will most affect your lives? Before you answer, Atlas.
That's gonna be enough. I'm gonna do repeater for now. I'd rather go with repeater and either regret it and just have to farm up the old-fashioned way, or it is what it is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the game is not that bad. Like, I'll be fine.
Shooting bullets just not cool enough for you? Get a Maliwan and light some people on fire.
You know, worth checking. You never know.
Let's get out of here.
Dude, every time. Big rail. Ooh. That's a badass. In case we didn't know. Yeah. It's a system that follows throughout the game.
Heavy, accurate, and effective, assuming you're strong enough to hold one.
Pretty well.
Don't know who to trust? You can always trust the gun at your side. Who needs a real doctor when you got my machines and their scary needles?
So I actually have a quest to roadkill enemies. So, even though you get less XP for killing enemies like this, you know, gotta do it for a quest, so might as well get what I can. Less is not zero. And I do still have that quest for Baja. Should be pretty easy now over in Skag Gully. Well, I know I just bought a shield, but I personally feel like it's always worth checking, especially when you're in this kind of early stage. This game really has a very odd pacing for this kind of first period of the game, where you're spending a good couple few hours in, you know, Firestone, kind of hubbed around here. And most people kind of, I don't know, it just feels very, a little awkwardly paced in this first section here. You know, it definitely picks up very quickly with the pacing in some of the later portions. I would say to kind of a bad level, and at a certain point it actually gets a little too quickly paced. But yeah, it definitely, you know, you get held up here so long in this early portion that, you know, for quite a bit you feel like the whole world is kind of centered around Firestone. So it's really important for you to either be comfortable with this kind of early portion of the game, or know what you're doing and what you kind of need to get through it, or know how to do it sketchy. For example, when I first killed Scar, you can do this at that point. You can do this mission at that point, but you can also, at that exact same time, have adult and badass skags spawning for the first time when you're level 6. Which, as you can probably tell, is not very great for you. Enforcer's really nice. Enforcer's really nice there. Just a basic kill skill. You'll start to get really comfortable with those in the later games. Obviously, when they expand on the skill trees, they get to expand on kill skills quite a bit as well. But in this game, there's not quite as much to work with in the skill tree, so these are a little bit simpler. But Enforcer is just really easy, better accuracy and bullet damage after killing an enemy. The other option was increase melee damage and phase walk duration. Right now, my phase walk lasts long enough for my shield to fully regen. And honestly, I don't really use it all that much for damage. Even when I get the elemental effect on it, I'm still not all that worried about using it for damage. That's a little way that you could save some time if you're trying. If I was doing this mission at that first point where I came here, that's one of the jumps you would do for just trying to skip through this. I would be limiting, the actual combat encounter of this, just because of the difficulty. The sad part is, honestly, the spitters are the bigger issue than any alphas or adults that would have been spawning. They're just a much more oppressive problem, because the alphas or adults are tankier, but so they take more time to kill physically. But you then spend longer killing them, so the spitters stack up and just start raining shots from the fucking halfway. That's not a bad rifle, actually. I might actually use that one. like I've said a couple times, you can get away with this mission by just running through. There's no enemies that are actual mandatory kills. The issue with that is you're further worsening your XP economy. So if you're kind of rushing through the game, so to say, like, not quite a speed run, but sort of speed, you know what I mean. If you're kind of speed running the game, just trying to push through, you're not really going to have the XP you need if you just run through. But if you know what you're doing and you plan on farming a specific boss encounter or whatever, what have you, then you'll probably be able to do that. But specifically with this mission, I don't really. I tend to avoid this mission. It's just not really worth it all that much to me. So I tend to, on this one, I'll come here and I'll just run through this and go kill Scar. Alright, so we actually just got something pretty neat. But, so I'll go kill Scar and run through this, just to get that big XP chunk for the completion, money, all that. And then I'll go push to some of the more efficient ways to farm up XP or whatever. So, remember, we have a purple unique from Bonehead right now. So, the Bone Shredder, real cool SMG, 10 times 2, high fire rate, big mag, awesome. We just found one of those really cool weapons that in this game just so happens to work great. It's called the Double Anarchy. So it's not a unique, it's just a SMG that has 2 parts that both do times 2 effect. So what that ends up being is 10 times 4 SMG with the same fire rate as the bone shredder, and also a big mag. Double Anarchies are amazing. You've probably already heard me mention Mashers, which are revolvers, but they're revolver shotguns. So instead of just like this one being 41 damage, they would be 41 times 7. There's a few odd weapon types like that in this game that just chef's kiss, just for no reason. And that's the kind of random thing why you need to look at every weapon vendor, because you might find a random blue Double Anarchy that's max level roll for that vendor, and that might be just what you needed to kind of help push you through for the next 6 levels. Because a blue SMG can be exactly that for you. In this game, it can just push you to the next 6 levels. Borderlands 2, a random blue SMG is not going to push you from level 11 to 17, all by itself. In this game, it could. I mean, technically, we're not going to really dive too deep on Borderlands 3, because I think I had a level 30. I think it was like a level 33 Torg shotgun. Yeah, it was like a level 33 Torg shotgun. It was some purple, some kind of bang stick. It was double penetrating, obviously, for the prefix. But the parts on it, somehow just everything perfectly happened. So it had 24 pellets, and the build on flak at the time allowed me to that was perfect, because it had it had enough in that magazine for. It had 3 magazines, if I remember correctly, and it only contained 2 per shot. So I ended up being able to, and I was just using the on crit refill magazine, some shit like that. I don't remember exactly, but the point is, I literally carried that all the way through to max level on release of Borderlands 3, and it took me forever to find
I know it's rough out here.
a comparable
Barely have time to
Ford shotgun that was really worth swapping for.
you help means a whole lot.
I still don't think I ever found like a perfect hearted sniper, or it's sniper, but a perfect hearted Ford shotgun. That would probably be the one thing that would like really just make that game really fun to just go back to. I tried so many things to like rekindle that build, but the worst part was like I could still with that same like level 30 Ford shotgun go and just instant kill stuff like the Grey Ward, the Ravager, stuff like that. Wotan. So this is a Doll Sniper. So this is more of the so there's the 2 archetypes for sniper in this game are the higher damage and kind of more of think like a bolt action versus a semi-auto rifle type of archetype. So that's kind of the difference we have here. The legendary is more of a super slow fire rate, high damage kind of thing, and this doll here is more for very fast follow-up shots. So it's going to be lower base damage than something else comparable. Yeah, this level 5 green has a lower fire rate, literally a 1 instead of the 2.4, and it's 80 damage instead of the 50. Or 76, my bad. Yeah, my bad. But it's an entire rarity lower. Kind of where that comes into play. Okay, so with this, I'm going to come in, sell everything, double check, make sure I don't have any bounty ward stuff. I shouldn't have anything.
Is there something you need?
Yep.
You got what you
Okay,
need.
so I should be good. Let's do another kind of little adventure really quick. Okay. haven't tried to do a double in a while, but so I mean, for one, that worked. So second try, haven't done a double grenade jump on the remaster. That was pretty dope. That's kind of dope. Not necessarily the craziest thing on earth. Oh, was able to make a fucking clip. Never done that before.
Hey, over here!
I don't like all the invisible walls. That's kind of frustrating. Like, what am I? That's kind of dumb. But whatever. You guys can see him. There's a claptrap up there. You can go hang out with him, or don't give claptrap more attention. Every time a claptrap doesn't hate his life, something about claptraps. Right. So now that I had an SVU, if I find a really good TMP, I can kind of rock with that. And I think I'll probably do that, or at least try to seek one out. I'm gonna go hit the mine gate key up here quest after I shop one more time over at this arena. Just in case they have anything neat, sort of a last ditch effort. And then I'm probably gonna call that on Borderlands for the day. Been live for about 3 hours. This is kind of the first time really trying to stream outside of, I think, one pretty short stream a few years back. But so I really appreciate everyone that did stop by for it. Oh, I thought that was a Twin Fury. Those are nice, but I don't think they're worth really focusing on. Kind of same thing. With the TMBs, like, honestly, it's got to be a really good one to really focus on. The repeaters, in my opinion, tend to just more often be better. The TMPs, unless it's like a really good ×2, you're usually just not going to find them being much better. The legendaries can usually be an exception to that rule, but, you know, they're legendary for a reason.
First aid kit, and you won't regret it.
Get that mine gate key. Starting to get into Elder Scab and Cruisers now. Not what I wanted to hop into the gunner seat, you know. So I don't actually need to be in the car anymore, so I'm going to actually hop over this way. And the reason I don't really care about the car is because, back to kind of how the save quit function in this game goes, I can actually, it's better and quicker for me to get out of the car completely and not use the car to travel this time. Whereas, you know, driving here, is way faster than walking. Running, driving back is quite a bit slower than just safely. Well, since I'm going to ship, I guess technically about the same, probably. Big reason you don't want to go up here before you kill everyone is because they will shoot those and just decimate you.
This is the 76th day. I was woken up, hoping I was having a recurring nightmare. We spent more than 36 hours earlier today relocating our campsite closer to our dig site, only to be ambushed by local wildlife that's hungry coming out of hibernation. Half of my staff was eaten alive, or killed by skags. I survived by hiding under a colleague of mine who was being devoured on top of me. His name is Carl. My emotions are deadened, and I grieve for none of them. Point of fact, the only emotion I felt was that of joy. I felt joy because...
Okay. So, like I said, just knock out those 2 quests. I am going to call that. So this is another game that I play quite a bit of. And we will probably find quite a bit of, at least for the time being. That may change in the future, but I'd like to think I will probably be playing that for the time being. That is me, myself. I enjoy Warframe quite a bit. So here we are now, checking out Warframe. I'm probably not going to play a whole lot of Warframe, actually. This is more of just going to kind of overall show the account. Not a very comprehensive overall showing or anything along those lines, or even like a comprehensive showing of the game, even for that matter. This is more of just kind of a vibe check for anyone that decides to hop in and check this VOD out for future sake, so people can kind of see what I hope to bring in the future. So, like I said, this is Warframe. For people that are familiar, this will be fairly basic information, hopefully, or at least fairly digestible information. For people that aren't, Warframe is a free-to-play, I guess, kind of RPG, MMO, whatever the hell. I don't know, man. Space ninjas and stuff. I don't know, dude. Warframe's a lot. Hack and slash, cyber sci-fi flesh simulator. There's a lot going on, man. But it's a lot in the fun kind of way, if that makes sense to people. It really just kind of lets you do whatever you want. There's all kinds of different activities, all kinds of different frames, which are your primary character, so to say. And they kind of have a different thing to itch the scratch for everyone. I don't have every frame. I don't have all of the prime variants, which are the upgraded, more premium variant of them. Same thing with weapons. A lot of the weapons will have a prime variant, or then there's even other variants of them, not just the prime variants. But there's, anything from throwing ninja stars to cybernetic, like space age laser revolver, to magic books. If anyone notices the name, you can name your items. If anyone gets the reference to my named grimoire, you also grew up with the internet at a fun time in its development. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that one, bud. Yeah, we're gonna go away from that one. But yeah, I like to play Wisp a lot. I've started working on a couple other frames quite a bit, but Wisp is probably one of, if not my most played frame at this point. Oraxia just came out. I'm not quite sure if that's the correct way to say her name, but haven't even touched her. I have quite a few frames that I haven't even leveled up yet that I have built. It's kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna lie, dude. All of these. Yeah, that's kind of disappointing. We just ignore that. Yeah, we ignore that. Araxia is up here because I think she's gonna be really fun, and I'm very excited to start playing with her eventually. Maybe, we'll see. Weapons. I have a lot of weapons built and formed and worked on. The frames I'm stuck in my ways. The weapons I tend to branch out a lot. I tend to really try and do something different often. I try to use weird stuff. And sometimes it just so happens the weird stuff ends up being really good or ends up getting brought into meta. For example, the Torrid, which is now one of the most meta weapons. I had a 6 Forma Torrid build for over a year before the Incarnate stuff even got talked about, and then that happened, and I was just like, oh wait, wait, y'all are actually gonna make it good? I've been doing it just because it's fun. I thought the stinky grenade was fun, so I got kind of my fun thing went and turned into actual god tier, so it was pretty dope. Or the Daikyu, yeah, stuff like that, Synapse, loved that for a long time. Was really happy with that. Just going down the list, kind of showing some of the stuff that I have, kind of where it's at, forming that kind of vibe. Hoping that gives an idea of what I like, what I don't like weapon-wise. Going over secondaries again. The Plinks is the Plinks is actually one of the same kind of cases. So you have the tenant planks, which made it really good, but I had the planks doing the same thing. Like, I just had the planks being ridiculous. Absolutely massive damage. Just because it was fun. I've been really enjoying Araxia's weapon. Her pistols, by the way. These things are so fun. They're pretty good, but like they're just so fun feeling. So, nevertheless, yeah. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is kind of basic, like, oh yeah, epitaph, that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it's good. Okay, cool, yeah. Then stuff like the static court, dude. When I saw I could have like punching aura, like waves coming off, I was like, dude, yeah, I gotta have that. Come on. Now here's to the melees. Most of the things that I've put work into, I have a ribbon for also. I think I have like a bit, right around like 150 ribbons, something like that. So most of these I have a ribbon for. Is whether it's a great ribbon or not is a whole nother topic, but it's something. I try to do something. A little bit of vibe check all around. So that's kind of where we're at on all of that. I have a couple pets, nothing too crazy. Hey, hush it up. Yeah, 152 ribbons. Yeah. Some of them are mid, some of them are, exemplary. Nothing really all that outlandish. Some of it's really good, some of it not so much. I really wouldn't go too far out on a limb to say like I really have all that much in terms of like saying a god roll or anything, but well, gotta set these up so I can at least
Excellent armaments, operator. Please return covered in blood.
run these really quick.
Safe and sound.
Well. Go ahead and do one Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, and then I'll hop off and show probably, I guess I'll show one other game that I am quite the fan of playing, and just kind of go from there.
Kill everything you encounter. Do not relent. The integrity of this experiment relies on your efficiency. Enter the conduit now. Hunter, you are running out of time. Enter the data conduit. Hunter, the sanctuary will go on without you.
So, that's one of the main, like, best ways, quote, to kind of level up a set of gear if you already have the gear kind of prepped, or at least for most people, my personal opinion. There's a few other options that are technically faster, but that's just the easiest for me to typically just hop on and do is just throw on an ESO, and you can kind of usually get by with pretty much any setup. Even if you're leveling up all 3 weapon slots, you can normally get by. So specifically, yeah, that weapon's a little nuts.
Operator, the sentients are not laughing at my jokes. Did they adapt to my humor?
Oh yeah. Sorry, this one was gonna be sucky. Gotta do that. What? That's to share with you guys. So, I played Smite off and on since its release on Xbox. And I played quite a bit from Season 7 on. I very off and on in the early seasons, and then from Season 7 on, with a big group of my friends, was very heavily playing. And I didn't really pick up Smite 2 very much at all. You know, I got made the big founder pack immediately, but it just didn't quite feel super great, and most of my friends didn't actually pick it up either. So I just kind of left it alone. I don't know. I was just kind of, it is what it is. Which, whether or not that's the best way to do it, it is what it is. So be it. Probably a couple weeks ago, I had a couple friends reach out, and they were asking about getting people for a group on Smite. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, because it's been a minute. I'd love to hop on. And here we are now. I've been playing back for a couple weeks. Small amount here and there. Haven't really been like diving in whole hog yet. But since I already have all of the gods forever, all of that kind of stuff, there's really no reason to not like try. You know what I mean? Like you get what I mean. Like there's no reason to not like make an active effort to play. Plus, they're doing a lot of good for the game. So, I'm diving in. I mostly play support and solo style gods. I do have a couple, like a mage. I have a couple ADCs pinned, and I have the Fenrir. Fenrir just is kind of fun to play. The build that I have pinned for him is a like bruiser solo type, like a bruisery solo support style build. So I don't really play assassins all that much, especially with what's available in this game. But like my bag is mostly support and solo. Right now, what I've really been enjoying is Bacchus and Chalk for conquests specifically. And I love Sobek. Sobek is one of my favorite gods, like all time on Smite 1. Specifically, just haven't been getting as much success with him on Smite 2, in Conquest at least. So I've been, leaning more towards the Bacchus in support. But, that's partially de-rusting. Bacchus is definitely a little bit easier to just kind of do what I need to do with. But Sobek's getting there. I also kind of realized I might have had a problem. Everyone else I've talked to, they brought up the legacy gems and been a little upset with how the legacy gems were handled, and then they were like, "Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to spend my 100,000 legacy gems." I think I didn't realize how many gems I must have bought on Smite 1. I've already spent like 50,000 legacy gems. I've bought every single classic skin I could on this game. Like, I've just bought everything I could with them so far. I don't think I'm ever going to use these. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to use 800,000 legacy gems. And even more, I think I'm going to be really pissed when I run out, because then I'm going to actually have to, like, pay the bigger price for these skins. And then I'm just going to be pissed. But, all that to say, I'm probably going to play some Smite. I don't know. And to kind of prelude that, let's get to it, I guess. Let's just do an arena game. Like I said, I've been live for a bit over 3 hours. This is kind of the first go. Oh, cool. Oh. Well, I didn't know. Okay, well, I wonder, can I get drops from myself? Do I count as watching myself?
Select your god.
I shall be their end.
Hell yeah. Okay. So can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? So can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. So I'll just do this. Okay, this is a good fix. So I pop in the party. But this is arena. This is, I don't want to say the basic game mode, but this is the like just kind of beat 'em up kind of game mode. This is typically where either you would put the newer kind of player. I don't want to necessarily be an asshole and say the noob, but this is kind of where a newer player
Minions have spawned.
would be. You're typically not going to see all that much here, aside from just kind of whack. That's kind of the big takeaway of this game mode. The big takeaway of this is really just, honestly, learning how to hit your abilities is a really good part of this. It helps people learn kind of basic fighting. But it's also just really hectic, and it's not very indicative of actual, like, normal play. Conquest is the actual, like, bread and butter of the game, in case anyone's not familiar. So I would, if this doesn't look appetizing to you as a game, I wouldn't judge Smite by this. But by that same token, if this looks fun to you, you can play Smite like this your entire career. You could be an arena god 24/7. Not an issue in the world. There's not a problem at all with doing just that.
Shut down.
I have a couple buddies that still play Smite 1. because they kept the other game alive still, because they weren't able to actually port over all of the characters and skins, which is I would say regrettable about the skins and characters, because there's over 120 gods on the first game, and obviously thousands of maybe not thousands, yeah, at least 1,000 cosmetics. Absolutely monumental amount of stuff. So it kind of sucks they weren't able to port it all over right away, but they are working on porting stuff over as possible, but it's also got to be economical.
An enemy has left the game.
A company. Got to make sense. Nevertheless, though, with this, they some of those friends that are on Smite 1 still, they literally play nothing but Arena. Like, to this day, never touch anything but Arena.
Slain.
Ultimate is ready.
Have slain an enemy.
Okay, well, pretty easy game.
Good game.
Victory.
Pretty easy F6. Okay, well, like I said, guys, I really just wanted to have a quick showing of like two games that I do enjoy quite a bit, and kind of wanted not necessarily to show off, but just kind of get you guys to see a little bit of what I enjoy. With that being the case, that's probably going to be it for me today. You guys can follow me here on Twitch. I also have a YouTube. It is also Nerd with No Land. Probably gonna set up stuff like Twitter here soon. I don't know. I don't know. I'll be here. I'll be on YouTube also. If there's anything else you guys think I should do, branch out, or anything along that line, please give me input. Leave a comment. Shoot me a DM. Just let me know what you think. Critiques are welcome. Other than that, I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.